how are we? And welcome to Sunday afternoon. Do you know what? It feels a bit weird today because I've been away for 2 weeks, had a bit of a holiday, a bit of a working holiday, but it was still a bit of a holiday. And I think the Cake Stuff guys are away working this weekend, so it feels a little bit like, you know, when you were younger and mum and dad went away, it feels a little bit like that. So they've given me access to their page this afternoon, and what should we do? Well, we're going to make a very hungry caterpillar children's cake. So that is what we're going to do. And I thought I was just going to launch straight into the decorations. Hi guys, nice to see you. Oh, it's nice to see there's a few people here. Let's have a look. Hi Jen. Hi Pam. Hi Samantha. Oh, somebody's posted a link as well to what I'm doing. Not quite sure what that's about, but hello anyway. I was just going to launch into doing just the decorations. I've just seen all that mess up behind my head as well, so please ignore that. Sorry about that. But I thought I may as well cover the cake as well, so we can do a really quick cake covering, sharp edges 101 as well before we get started. So rather than do lots of chatting to start with, I will just crack on and I'll get on with the cake covering so that we can do that as well. So I'll flip the camera around in a second. So what I have here, I have a 6-inch dummy. It's a little bit battered, but you can imagine that's your 6-inch beautifully ganached cake. Hi Mom, just have to wait to say hi Mom. I also have my smedger. So this is a smoother and an edger available from Cake Stuff. Now, usually when I'm doing these lives, I have Cameron with me and he adds the link as I talk about something, but he isn't around today, so he can't add the links today. So if you are desperate for something, let me know and I will add the link at the end. Otherwise, Cameron has promised that he will add to the video later and he will catch up with all of the links. Okay, so we're going to use the sharp edge, get our sharp edges with this smoother and edger. I have a little bit of Trex as well to help me on my way. And I have my favourite couture icing. And I also have something else amazing which I will show you in just a second. So let me flip the screen around. There you go. I'll keep myself in the corner until I get in the way. Sorry, it's a little bit messy down here. You can see my favourite pink knife there. Always have my pink knife, wouldn't be without that. And then there's a few bits we need for decorating later on, so I'll move those over. Right, first of all, if I want to cover a dummy cake, the first thing I do is I liberally apply some Trex. There we go. My internet is being a little bit funny, so I'm sorry about that. It's going to be a little bit jumpy, but hopefully it's all right for you watching it. Not quite sure why somebody keeps posting the live stream to this. Hopefully they will stop. But very nice to see all of you guys here. I know lots of people are looking forward to it. This is a really nice cake to do, and it's really good for like little ones' birthdays. They all love the Very Hungry Caterpillar, don't they? It's also really nice for christenings as well. I've done quite a few actually for christening. Sorry, this sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it? Adding this. So I'm just putting on the Trex. And you can actually keep that Trex on your fingers because that's actually quite good for putting into your icing as well to avoid it sticking. When you're rolling out icing, you can either use your corn flour or you can actually use Trex just to stop it all sticking. So I have my absolute favourite couture paste here. This is my go-to paste. I use it for absolutely everything. It smells fantastic. You have to excuse my green fingers, by the way. I did a bit of pre-colouring of my icings and I managed to get it all over my fingers. Oh, okay, Jen, thank you. It's just shared by the link I see. So I'm just giving this a little knead. You can see it's quite soft because it is warm at the moment. So I'm just kneading. And when I'm kneading my icing ready to cover cakes, I always twist it around in a circle like this and I always knead it in towards the centre. And I'll explain that to you why in just a second. Hi Carol, watching from work. Hi Dawn. Very nice to see you all. Yeah, Dawn, this smoother is really good. It's the same as the regular smoothers, but it's also got a really good edge on it, and I'll show you exactly how I use it in a moment. There we go. So I'm just going round, bringing that all in to the edges. And then what I do is I bring all of those edges in, for my green fingernail, and I just want to smooth those all together. Just give them a quick join together, because the less cracks there are, the less it is likely to split and tear. So there we go, that's the underside, that is all joined together. And then I'm going to flip it over. There we go, just make it into a nice circle. Bit of corn flour on the top. And now I'm pulling out the big guns. I've got my Kingpin rolling pin. Now this, I was saying to somebody the other day, I was doing some work with someone last week, and I took my Kingpin along with me and let her have a go. It's one of those things that you think, oh, it's really expensive. Is it going to be any good? But oh my gosh, it really is. See, I'm just rolling backwards and forwards, and it just works brilliantly. You have to keep turning around because obviously you want your icing to be in a nice circle. So let's just get this rolled out nice and thin. I've got a cup of tea sitting next to me. It's about to bounce off the table, I think. Let's move it in a little bit. I've got my puffin. I love puffins. I've got a little puffin mug. There we go. Just get this rolled out. Yeah, it's really hard with those. It's really hard, guys, for me to see your comments because of all those spam messages. We could do without those, couldn't we? Yeah, I think we need to ignore them, Pam. I think you're right. We'll just ignore them. We don't need them, do we? Maybe they'll stop in a minute. They'll get bored of doing it, hopefully. But it's making me quite hard to see all of your messages. Yeah, I would definitely suggest not clicking on those links. I will be sharing this onto my Facebook page as well. Oh, I forgot to put my name up. There we go. My Facebook page is Angel's Kitchen. For those that don't know, you can just about see it on my shirt along with my Cake Stuff logo. I will be sharing this onto my page afterwards. There we go. Right, so I've rolled that out nice and thin. I'll just move this out of the way. It's rather heavy. Don't want to be dropping it on my toes. And I'll just pick up a regular rolling pin. Now what I do is I place my rolling pin in the middle, fold the icing back, and then I place it over the top. Now it's quite hard with the dummies because they tend to move all over the place. Has anyone seen that fabulous new invention from Prop Options? We'll have to talk to the guys at Cake Stuff and get them to stock it. It's designed like this. So the first thing I do is just rub my hands together because they had a bit of Trex on them. How much icing do you need for a 6-inch cake? Now I use, this is, it was about, I'd say a fifth of the pack, and the pack is 2.5 kilograms. So there we go. Now the mat I'm using, this is just a, it's one of the self-healing mats that you can cut on and then it heals together. Now, I want to get lovely sharp edges on here, but I'm not going to touch that top edge at all. What I'm going to do is just make sure the top is stuck. There you go. Oh, Carol, well done. Carol won the competition I did with the, it was one of the Cake Stuff lives. Now what I'm doing is just using the side of my hand and I'm going down about 2 centimetres and pushing in there. So I'm totally leaving this top edge. So I'm just going around and spinning the cake round, pull out the skirt and then do another 2 centimetres at a time using this bit of your hand. There we go. Hi Reef, yes, a heavy marble rolling pin would be very good as well, but I love my Kingpin. There we go, so keep rolling, keep flipping round, pull it out, and keep pulling out your icing and just being really gentle with everything. What you want to do is literally stick this icing to that cake. Now if you have a ganache cake, you need to spray it with water first, and that way your icing is going to stick nicely. So you want to go all the way around to the bottom. I'm doing this quite quickly because I want to show you more how to make the Hungry Caterpillar, but I do want to show you the edges. We might as well do that while we're here. There we go. So I'm going all the way down to the bottom, just so I can hit the table at the bottom. See all these crinkles? I'm pulling them all the way out, so none of those crinkles are on my cake. They all come out. And then I'm going to use my smoother just to push. I'm pushing this way. I'm pushing into the cake like this all the way around, just to make sure that that icing is well and truly stuck to that cake everywhere. I'm going to take my lovely pink knife. Cake Stuff keeps selling out of these, but they do get them back in. There we go. So I'm going all the way around up the edge, not too close to the cake, doesn't need to be too close, but not too far away. Now I used about 1/5 of that pack and there's quite a lot left over. The elephant skin, Beth, you'll find that with couture that you don't need to worry about that. As long as you knead the icing before you roll it out, you shouldn't have too much of a problem at all with elephant skin. Now, taking a piece of greaseproof paper, placing it on top of the cake, and then using my hand at the side, I'm just going to flip that cake over. Now this obviously is a dummy, so it's a dummy. Now I want to go round the edge in an upwards motion. So I'm pushing that off the top of the cake, which is the bottom, and then when we trim that round in a minute, that will then have a lovely bottom edge on your cake, which will mean that you won't need to put a ribbon round if you don't want to. Yeah, my internet is playing up, but you will get the picture eventually, and if it does mess up, you can actually watch the live afterwards, and it won't have the jumps in then. So I've just put a bit of corn flour all the way down around the bottom of my cake, and now I'm going to use the sharp edge on this smudger, and I'm just going to push it into the cake while pushing down onto the table as well, because then I have a perfect right angle that I'm working towards. There we go, and you just smooth all the way round, and you will find that where you have a bit of a gap in the bottom here underneath the cake, between the cake and the greaseproof paper, the more you go round and smooth, that gap will actually disappear. Hi Carolyn, just Carolyn explaining that I live in the middle of nowhere and my internet doesn't always play ball. And also there is a big dance festival on this weekend, and I have dancing daughters and it's all online, so they're doing lots of dance classes. So we are battling for the internet today. I did tell them they weren't allowed to do any dancing between 3 and 4, but we shall see. Right, so I'm just going around. Now you can obviously spend a long time doing this. Now when my internet pauses, can you still hear me, or do I disappear as well with the sound? Somebody let me know. I can see when it's moving, but it looks like you can still hear me speaking. Hopefully it'll settle down in a minute. It's also raining here as well, which is always a problem. So I'm going all the way around the edge, pushing in and pushing down at the same time. There we go. Now you could spend longer, but I'm happy with that. I won't spend long. And now I'm going to use my knife just to push off. So I'm just always pushing into the middle, just so I have a nice edge on the bottom there. Hi Liz. Nice to see you. There we go. Our spammers seem to have gone. Oh good, Mary, I'm glad you can hear me. That's all right then. The picture will just keep coming in and out, I think. It might be because it's my second camera. There we go. So I've smoothed that top off now as well. What I'm going to do is I've got one of the ganache plates. I'm just going to put that on the bottom. Now, if you've got your cake board ready for your cake, you can use that as well at this stage. But I'm just going to flip it over and peel that off. There we go. So I have a lovely edge. It could be sharper. I could have spent longer doing it, but that's a really nice edge on there. And what you can do, if you want to just sharpen it up a bit, you can go round. See, that's going to slide all over the place. But you can grab a couple of the acetate smoothers. There you go, I've just got a bit there that's not as sharp as it could be. Put one smoother there, one on top, and just rub. So I'm keeping the one on top still, and the one underneath I'm rubbing. Let me put it like that so you can see I'm rubbing up against it like that. So hold the one on top still, and just rub up against it. There we go. And you can obviously spend as long as you like on this stage, making sure everything is as perfect can be. But for what we're doing today, I am very happy with that, and we can get on and decorate that as our very hungry caterpillar. So I'll move these bits and pieces out of the way. Now to do our decoration, I am actually using the Colour Mill colours, and I am using Eleganza modelling paste. So I have some here that I coloured earlier in the various shades of green. So I've got green, lime, mint, forest and emerald. Lots of lovely different shades of green. So I've got all of those out and I've done my greens. I haven't done anything else. I haven't coloured anything else. But if I show you the picture, let's see, how do we show the picture? There we go. If I show you the picture, there we go. So you can see there's various different shades of green in the body, and we also need red. And then for the circles and the decorations, we need some of the blues and browns. So we need all sorts of various colourways there, but we can sort those. So I think what we'll do first of all is we will actually do the caterpillar's head. So I'll take my Eleganza paste. That's my Eleganza modelling paste. Now it comes, and there's my cutter on the floor. It's very hard when it arrives. That's perfectly normal. And what you need to do is, using a sharp knife, just slice off some segments. So those thin segments then become really soft and pliable. So if you just take it off in little bits like this, you can then put it together and it all becomes really nice and soft. Now I need to colour this with some red. My video has gone again, but I'm hoping that you can still see me. So I'm just going to use some of the red. Let's have a little bit more. When it stops, I'll keep talking. And if it's anything vital, you can watch it back later. As long as it stays, we should be okay. There we go. So I'm just going to add in some red. Now, when I coloured my green earlier, I actually did a live in my student group at the same time. I have a student group just called Angel's Kitchen Student Page, I think it's called. And I was being very careful. I wore gloves, so I didn't end up getting the colour all over my fingers. But then I took the gloves off because I was actually getting the colour all over my neck. I'm not quite sure how I managed that. I think as I was closing the lids, it was spraying up at me. Oh, hi Cake Stuff. There's somebody there. Who do we have with us today? I know it's not Cameron because he's just told me he's off. But it's very nice to see. I was just saying it was like Mum and Dad were away and I had the place to myself. But obviously not. Good job I'm getting on with what I'm supposed to be doing. We'll find out who it is in a minute. Dawn's saying she's used couture modelling paste for years but never tried the Eleganza modelling paste. She usually uses Saracino. Now, I also use Saracino for things that I can't use Eleganza for, but I can use Eleganza for 99% of my modelling jobs. So I use it for making my bride and groom toppers, I use it for making cake toppers, I use it for models, I use it for pretty much everything. In fact, I can't think offhand things. Maybe the more delicate pieces, because Saracino you can do really fine detail and it sets really hard. Eleganza doesn't set quite as hard, but that's not a problem at all. I think it's probably nicer to eat. It tastes a bit like the, do you remember the candy cigarettes we had as kids? It tastes a bit like that, a bit marshmallowy. It's a really nice, really nice paste to work with. So it's always my go-to modelling paste. Sometimes if I have to make something quite big that's brown, for example, I'll use the Saracino ready coloured brown maybe. But usually I'm quite happy. There's a really nice Colour Mills colour actually called Chocolate. There it is. And that makes a really lovely dark brown. I've actually got a little bit here. It makes a really nice brown colour. So just make a bit of yellow. I'm going to have a look at the picture, I think, to see what colour the caterpillar's face is. I can just see it down there. So he's got yellow around his eyes, hasn't he? And then he's got green in the middle. The last time I made this cake, I sent the cake out to the customer and I realised that I'd forgotten to give him feet. So I thought that was the end of the world and I was really upset. But I never said anything to the customer and they didn't actually notice. And they absolutely loved the cake as well. So I think quite often we see faults in our cakes that other people just do not see. And I think a lot of us beat ourselves up a lot of the time thinking that, you know, we're not good enough, we're not as good as that person, we're not as good as this person. But you just have to speak to your customers or your friends, whoever you're making your cakes for, just watch their reactions. And that's definitely what we should be going for. So there we go, I've got the colours I need to make the caterpillar. I've got my little bit of brown as well because I will try very hard not to forget his feet today. There we go. Now, if you have a look at the caterpillar, there we go. See, he's got a nice curve in the middle of him. So we want to work out how we're going to get that nice curve on top of our cake. So we'll go back to what we're doing. Christine, does the Eleganza set hard? Well, I've got plenty of models around here. Let me just grab one and we can give it a little bash and see how hard it is. So if you have a look, this was from my dinosaurs cupcake class. So this was made with Eleganza. Yeah, that's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. That's one of the bits off the top. And yeah, that's set. It's got a little bit of give in it. So it is like those candy cigarettes. So once you bite it, it's soft in the middle. But it does set hard on the outside. You're not going to ruin that by knocking it or anything. It does stay nice and hard, but it also stays nice and edible. Right, now we are going to do our caterpillar, and we want him to come along. We want his head to be here, and we want his body to come along and then to come up like this. So what I'm going to do is I have got 2 skewers here. So these are just the longer skewers that I've cut in half. And I actually don't need them to be this long. Where are my clippers? I don't know where my clippers are. Okay, let's just go with it for now. So we'll put that in, putting it at an angle. There we go, I'll just push it down further. Putting it at an angle so it pokes up. There we go, like that. So I want it sticking out. I've got it sticking out about 5 centimetres. And I'll do one this side that is sticking up about 5 centimetres as well. So this is obviously still very soft, so I'm putting all sorts of finger marks in here. So we'll just have to imagine those aren't there. You wouldn't do this to your cake, would you? You can always rub them out then with your smoother. So you can hold on to the stick as well, which makes it a bit easier. Just turn it round, just smooth those out. So who do we have here from Cake Stuff? Who do I need to say hello to? Or was it Cameron popping in? I don't know. There we go. So I've just smoothed out most of those finger marks. But if you let your icing set for a little bit, hi Terrell. If you let your icing set for a little bit, you're not going to be putting finger marks in it, so that's fine. Right, there we go. So they're not completely pointing in the same direction, but it's not a problem. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out how big my head is going to be first. So it's going to be all quite chunky. So I'm just going to roll the ball. Now with Eleganza, you do need to make sure you smooth those cracks in. Just push it all back together. There we go, push it all back together and give it a really good mould. Sugar Paste Company fondant. Yeah, I switched to couture fondant a long time ago. I started using it because it was a really long time ago. It was like 7-8 years ago. And I went into a friend's house and she had just made a birthday cake and I could smell it and I was like, how come I can smell your cake? And she said, couture icing is amazing. You can smell it and it's beautiful. It smells lovely vanilla and it's gorgeous to work with as well. There's no elephant skin. Lovely drying time. You can work with it. It's fantastic. Maria's asking, how long would I wait for my icing to set before working on it? Ideally, I ice my cakes the day before I do all the decorations, but you can't always do that. So it doesn't matter, just whatever you can do really. So there we go, I've made my head shape. So I made a ball that was, let me do that again. I made a ball that was, let's measure it, it fits into a 3 centimetre square and I'm just squashing one end of it. Oh, hi Philippa. Philippa's saying hello. I'm just squashing one end of it and just making it into a kind of that shape. Now the Hungry Caterpillar illustrations are all very lovely and wavy, aren't they? So nothing has to be completely exact. So I'm just going to stick that head there. Now what I need now is the body pieces need to be roughly this size. So I've got my shades of green here. So what I'm going to do is just break off a piece, give it a roll, and just make it into a kind of shape like that and just see, so that will stick next to that perfectly. So what I'm going to do is just use a little bit of glue. I've got the Cake Stuff glue here. Now it comes in bigger bottles, but I love this one because it comes with its own paintbrush. You just have to be really careful because I'm always knocking mine over and I end up wasting my glue, which is very annoying. So just glue that together. Now you don't need to use glue, you can use water as well. So there we go, just put that on there. And now the next one is going to start going onto that stick I've got. So let's put the next one on. You just need to roll them very, and it doesn't matter if the colour is marbled as well, because in the actual illustration, the colour is marbled. So we'll just have a look. So that one is going to just fit on there, I think. So we'll put that one on there and then we'll mould it a bit more. So it wants to be kind of that shape because we want the next one to be at an angle going up. So we'll just put a bit of glue under there and then we'll stick them on. Now the nice thing about doing it all like this is you can actually mould them as you go. So I want that to come up to the top of that one. So if you have a look, it's kind of that shape. Let's stick that back on. If we stick glue on the bottom, that's not going to fall off, is it? There we go. Oops. Only if I drop it. There we go. Oh, I've frozen again. There we go. But so you just keep using different colours, so different shades of green going up. The mat is, this mat is a, it's just one of the self-heal craft mats. You can get them from all sorts of places. Pretty sure Cake Stuff have pink ones. I'm sure I didn't dream that. I'm sure my first one was a pink one from Cake Stuff. I'll just wait for my internet to come back. Come back, internet, please. Move my picture. Come on. Let's see. There we go. I'm back. I was just waiting for it to come back before I place the next bit because this needs to go on a bit of an angle as well. Oh, hi, Rebecca from Canada. There we go. So can you see there that I've started to now go up? And I'm not going to do anything any higher than that until I've done this side. So I'm going to do this side first. And then you kind of build it a bit like an igloo. So that one goes on at that angle. See, so it's at an angle like that. We'll put another one underneath that so that doesn't start to... hopefully I've come back, Caroline. I know it keeps freezing, but hopefully it doesn't stay frozen. So just put another one under there to support that, see? And then we've got to build up this middle bit. So just taking some more shades of green. Get some glue on here and some glue on here. This is my favourite shade. I think this is the lime. I absolutely love this one. So there we go. You just keep building up. And then what happens is that it actually supports each other like the roof of an igloo. So just put some more glue on. Works a dream when you haven't knocked it over and spilt half of it. When you've got it so it actually touches the glue that's inside, it's really great. There we go, put another bit on there, and can you see they're just starting to build up now? Which one should we go now? This colour. I'm using, Rebecca, I'm actually using Eleganza modelling paste. I would say it's like a gum paste. It's like, maybe it's like a gum paste mixed with a fondant, because your gum paste is really sets really hard, doesn't it? That's what you use for making flowers, if I'm right, I think. So this is a really lovely modelling paste that it doesn't set as hard, and you actually have a bit longer to work with it as well. There we go. So I'm just rolling. They're not all the same size, they're not all the same shape. I'm literally just gluing bits onto each other. So this gets a bit tricky now because there's nothing to support it other than the piece below. So you just have to make sure you glue it in place. As soon as we start filling that gap, you see, as soon as we fill that gap, it will actually support itself. I'll just put a few more on here. Oh, Laura's 5-year-old was dressed as the Hungry Caterpillar. That's so cute. Kids absolutely love it, don't they? And I loved it when I was little as well. The book has been around so long. There we go, just put another bit in that side. And then I've just got one more bit to go in the top there. Let's see, what colour should we have? Let's go for this colour. And so the top bit needs to be a bit more of a triangle shape. See, just to fit in there. could do with another camera really, couldn't I? That comes in from this angle so you can see the side. I'll sort that. Obviously can't sort that now, but I will sort that. There we go. So we just put that in there. Oh, that colour's the same. I can't use that there. Sorry. Different colour. When I use the PME colours, it takes a lot of colour. Do you know what? Philippa, you just saw me make, or I just made that red, and it really didn't take much colour. These Colour Mill colours are really, really strong. Now they are oil-based colours, so they are ideally suited to chocolate work and also buttercream. But I absolutely love using them with my modelling paste as well. I find they work a treat, and I really, really love the colours. I've frozen again. There we go. So can you see that? We've got the lovely body. We just need to put a little bit of a tail on now. And this is where you can just go over and use your Dresden tool, look, just to make sure those joints are all exactly as you want them. Just make sure everything, you just neaten, do you see my glue fall over? This is why I keep losing it. Just neaten everything up a little bit. Obviously wouldn't suggest putting your cake on its side, especially when it's just been iced. But, there we go. So there we have the caterpillar. I'm just going to put a little bit of a tail on the end. Reef, can you use water instead of glue? Yes, you can. You can use water. I just like to know though that when I'm doing this that it's really sticking. So I like to use glue just to make sure. So that end one, I've just made that a little bit pointed on the end. There we go. So he's got his tail. Right, now I need to do his face. So if you have a little look at his face, I'll just show you his face on the picture. There you go. He's got those yellow eyes with green innards, and he's actually got looks like a blue nose, and then his little purple antlers. So we'll we need some blue and purple anyway, so we'll mix up those colours to do that. And then, was it Philippa asking about the colours? Yeah, Philippa, you'll be able to see how quickly. Oh, Pam, that's amazing. The Welsh version of the book. I'm not even going to try. Shall I try? Elindisyn Wiglid Jan. Oh, I don't know. Sorry if I've really offended anybody Welsh watching. I love the Welsh words. My father-in-law lives in North Wales, and I love the Welsh words. Right, so I'm going to make the eyes now. They're quite big yellow eyes, aren't they? So let's make some nice big eyes. Caroline, what are you asking me, lovely? Don't understand. Oh, do I use Colour Mills? Do I want Denny's the Colour Mill? Autocorrect is funny, isn't it? It makes up all sorts of things and gets us into all sorts of trouble. So there's my eyes, and I'm just going to use some green for the centres. Yes, I use Colour Mills for most things. As you can see from the state of my bottles, I absolutely love them. They are such gorgeous colours. I'm actually in the process of putting together a chart so that you can actually see all of the colours side by side, because for example all of the greens, and just so it helps with your buying really. So I'm going to put that in my student group so people can see. There we go. A couple of eyes. So I've just done the yellow blobs with the green blobs on top. I'll put these on and then I will show you. So I'm just sticking on the front. I'm not using any glue because this is already quite soft. Look at that, you see, it's already looking amazing. And I really like the marbled effect as well on the icing. It just makes it look more like the drawing. So I'm just going to cover those up for a minute. Although the nice thing about Eleganza is it really doesn't dry out too quickly. Oh, I've got some lovely Welsh coming from Pam. I obviously didn't do too badly. So I'm going to colour some blue and some purple. And then we should have most of the colours we need, although we'll need an orange. There we go. So let's do, I really like the way the navy comes out actually. The navy is just a bit softer. Yeah, Philippa's on my wavelength. I think it would be a really good idea, you know, Philippa. I was getting ready for a tutorial that I'm doing in a magazine, and I was just working out which colours I needed, and I was putting them all together and just writing the name underneath them, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I'll put them together, and then if Colour Mill were to bring out any new colours as well, we could add those in, and that would be great. Do you like that, Carolyn? Carolyn's just given me a wow. Is that my caterpillar? Come together nice and quickly. And I hope you've all seen that that was very, very doable. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't difficult. There we go. So I've got my blue. I'm not colouring that all together perfectly because I do need it to be a little bit marbly for what we're doing. And is that a word? Marbly? It's probably marbled, isn't it? But I like marbly. I have found doing these Facebook Lives that I do actually make up quite a few words. So apologies there. Right, so I've now got the purple colour mill. And you can see how much I'm using to get those lovely, lovely colours. I'm just dotting it on. You can squeeze it, obviously. This is where mine gets so messy because I dot it on like that. Oh, it's getting very annoying with all this freezing. Come back, internet. Come back, internet. Must be getting quite frustrating to watch, actually, with the internet freezing all the time. If you're watching back, hopefully it just streams straight through and you don't get the freezing. So I'll just keep talking because it will come back. There we go, we've come back. I was just waffling, guys. Just saying it must be quite frustrating with the internet keep freezing like this. I think it's because my daughter's using the internet as well. There we go. I won't do anything. There we go, we've got internet. I won't do anything drastic while the internet's not working. Right, I'm taking a little bit. Come on, come back. Come back. I've got a little bit. I'm going to stick that on for the nose. And then I'm going to make two little, there we go, two little like antler things. Look at these beautiful colours. This is why I like the Colour Mill colours, because they have such gorgeous, vibrant colours. So I've made a little nose. Oh, Carol, customers keep coming in. That's not right. There we go. And I made two little antennae that are thicker at the top and thinner at the bottom. There we go. And what I'm going to do is using a toothpick, if I can do that one-handed, I'm just going to make two holes in the top for these to go in. Now I would put some glue in there, but it's quite soft, so I don't need to. I don't need to put glue in there because it's quite soft. So just roll the ends thin and pop them in. There we go. There we go. And somebody needs to say to me, feet. There he is. And I'll just give him some little feet. Now they're going to droop down because that's still quite soft. So you can leave them to set, or you can actually put a little bit of spaghetti in them if you want to, so they stand upright. Now to make his little feet, I'm just going to literally roll a little tic tac and put a bend in it. And just stick that on the bottom there. And I'm only going to put a few of these feet on, I don't need too many. The bottles I have here, oh, let me show you. So, I didn't freeze, I just disappeared. These bottles, when the internet comes back, there we go. These bottles are 20 ml. This bottle is 100 ml. So these are lovely. These are much bigger. Right, all the ones I have in my box are 20 ml. Oh. There we go. Karen's saying she's going to make this for her grandson when he starts reading. It's a book they love reading on their own as well. Now, do you know what? He does. I'm sure he has feet all the way up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to put some feet, a few feet at the bottom. Just put my fingernail in there. Just going to put a few feet down here. There we go. There we are. So he's done. There you go, there's the caterpillar. Come on, internet, come back, please. We'll just wait for that to come back. Is it going to come back? Come on, internet. There we go. So there we are. There he is. The internet's frozen, but you can see him and you can see how cute he is with those little antennae. So he's done. Now we need to decorate the rest of the cake. Now, if you have read the Caterpillar book, you will know, there you go, I've just printed off, you can get sheets online, you can have a look for the images and you can see all the different things that he's eaten and all the different colourways of all the illustrations in the book. So it's really nice, you see all the colours are slightly merged together. So it's quite nice to have some mixed colours. Now what I do when I make this cake is I actually put a ring around the bottom of circles. So I'm going to make my first colour up just by mixing, there we go, just very loosely mix together my red and my yellow, put some corn flour down and roll that out. And hopefully I will get some areas of different, really interesting, different colours. And I'm going to use one of my Russian piping tips to cut out some circles of some lovely marbled icing. There we go, there's two there. And then you just want to keep mixing your colours together. So they don't need to have a very good mix because you want the colours to reflect both colours. There we go. So a rough mix together, roll it out. There we go. And if you have a look at the illustrations, they really are multicoloured. If I go back to that picture, there look, you can see all of those circles there, and they're all slightly different marbly colours. So we'll do some more of those. I'll just keep doing a few. So you just basically pick a couple of colours to put together and just roll them out. Oh, there goes my hole on the floor again. I've got a little circle cutter that I'm going to use to put the holes where he's, you know, on Monday he ate through this, and on Tuesday he ate through that, and on Wednesday he ate through that, and then he went into his chrysalis, didn't he? There we go. Let's put a bit more purple with this one. Thank you guys for sticking with me. I know it's very annoying when the internet keeps playing up. Just trying to get one that's a bit more purple. There we go. I'll leave that to cut out one of our other shapes as well. And there's some that are brown as well, aren't there? Let's do a bit of brown and orange maybe. A bit more brown. There we go, that's a bit marbly. And one that's a little bit more yellowy. So we do yellow with orange. And you can basically really make this your own. There's so many different options with the illustrations available. You could paint one of the illustrations all around the side, which would be really lovely. There we go. And then what you want to do with these, let me just do something that's a bit redder. I think we need a red. Put a bit of the red with a bit of the orange as well. Oh, thank you guys. You're being really kind. I have to say this is one of my most popular cakes and one that I really, really love making. Somebody actually asked me to make one, I don't know if I said earlier, in pink colourways. So it was all shades of pink and purple. So it wasn't quite the same. You know, it wasn't exactly as it should have been, but I still loved it. Right now I'm going to do the very naughty thing and pick up my cake with my hand. It's not completely set, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to put some glue around the bottom just so I can show you what we do. So then we just put these all the way around the bottom in a completely random design. So if you want to have a look for inspiration, just have a look at the book, have a look at the picture and have a look how they do it, and they really are super random. They just put them on. Oops, I've just ruined that circle there. Never mind, so just stick these on like this, and you can put them all the way around, and you can have 2 layers of it if you want to. You don't just have to have 1 layer, but I'm going to put something else up the top, so I'm just going to have 1 layer going round. Now I won't go all the way round because I haven't done enough, but I would if it was a real cake. I would go all the way round, Oh, there goes my glue again. Just managed to save it that time. So I'll just stick the ones on that I've done. They don't quite go round, but you get the idea. And they look great, don't they? All those lovely marbly colours. They look lovely. And it already looks really reminiscent of the book, doesn't it? Caroline, do Cake Stuff do a bundle for the colours? Now, they don't, but I am wondering if this is something we could talk to them about, because it would be a really good idea to put together bundles, because when they first came out, I asked them to send me a mermaidy bundle, a mermaidy bundle, because they wanted me to test them out for them. And I said, well, I'll do a mermaid cake, so send me the mermaidy colours. And they were a bit like, what? So yeah, I think it would be really good to put some bundles together. So yeah, I could definitely have a chat with them about that. I don't know if anyone's here with us, but I think they popped in and popped out. So we've done that. So now I will just show you how to do a few of the illustrations. So the things like the apple and the ice cream and the salami. So basically any of the illustrations you want to do. So I've already shown you that I printed off a sheet of the illustrations. Now I'm always really happy doing stuff freehand. So I just use my scalpel and I just draw things freehand. So I'm just going to do an apple shape. But if you're not happy doing it freehand, you can print it out. There are plenty of the images online. So you can just have a look and find the image that you want to do. And you can just print it out that way. And then you could draw around it. Oh, Mary, you could do some lovely cake toppers with these designs. All sorts of things. I'm just going to put a little dent in there with my Dresden tool just to stick the stalk in. Remember, it's all illustration as well, so it all needs to be a little bit not quite perfect. And we'll put a leaf on there as well. So we've got some marble green there. So we'll just cut out a leaf shape. Can you see that? Just check I'm doing it where you can see it. So I'll just cut out a leaf shape and stick that on. Now I'm just going to retrieve my hole cutter. So obviously he's eaten through this apple. So we cut out a hole and then we just stick this apple on the side. Put some glue on all of that. And we stick this on the side, there we go. So he's got his apple stuck on there. Now one that I really like is the sausage. I think that's really cool. So we'll do the sausage. Do you know what, Mary? I think what I would do for the cupcake toppers is I would do a moulded white top and then I'd put the items of food on the top. I think that would be really fun. So there we go. See, I've got my red there with a little bit of the brown running through it. So now I'm going to cut out my salami shape. There's nothing wrong with cutting out, so with printing off some shapes from the internet and cutting around those. Nothing wrong with that at all. I've just always been quite happy. See, I just broke that. Doing things freehand, just stick that back together. See how forgiving the eleganza is? That just let me totally stick that back together. Or I just pulled it apart. So I have my salami. Now I need to do, there's little strings around the top of the salami. So roll some nice and thin. This is for the string at the top of the salami. And I'll just wait till I've stuck it on and then I'll cut those. So I need to put a hole through the salami because obviously he's had a good munch on that as well. There we are. So I'll stick the salami this side because I want to put the lollipop in the middle, just because it's a slightly different colourway. There we go, so I've stuck the salami on. Can I do this one-handed? Sure I can. I've just got some little ties to go on either end. Oops. There we go. So there's the salami. And see the nice shading in there from the marbling. It looks really good. I'll do one more. And then I will do the name on the top and then we'll be done. So yes, going back to the cupcake toppers, I would definitely do the food items, I think. So I'm just going to make the lollipop by rolling 2 sausages. Oh, Kirstine, there is a good question. What is the main difference between the expensive paste and supermarket fondant with Tylo added? Well, I think you've kind of answered your question. You can use a supermarket fondant and you can add Tylo to it, and you still don't know exactly what you're going to get, because the supermarkets do change who makes their fondant quite often, so you never know what you're going to get. If cost really is an issue, the supermarket fondants with Tylo work well. The supermarket fondants on their own can work well, but you never know exactly what you're going to get. The main thing is, if you get a trusted brand of sugar paste or fondant, you always know that it is going to work for you. And if for some strange reason there was a batch of couture that didn't come out right, or you had a pack that for some reason had been heat dyed or anything, you getting it from a trusted supplier, you've got comeback. You can go back to that supplier and say, hang on a minute, this is a fantastic product, but this one didn't work, and they will always sort you out. You don't quite get that in the supermarket. There we go. So what I've done for the lollipop, I've rolled them both together, but what I want to do is just make that a little bit flatter. So I'm going to use a bit of greaseproof paper over the top and give it a roll out, just so it looks more like an illustration rather than something that I've stuck on. There we go. So you can see that's a bit flatter now, and it's more like an illustration. So that's a little bit big to go in the middle there, but that's okay. That's fine. Although we could make it a little bit smaller. No, I'll ruin it. I'll leave it big. It's fine. And it needs a stick, doesn't it? So let's give it a stick. We just make the stick by mixing these 2 colours together. Christine says her friend printed the shapes onto rice paper and stuck those on. Yeah, absolutely, you could do that. If you're going to do that though, I would definitely recommend rolling out some of your icing or even modelling paste thin and sticking the shapes onto your fondant first, just so that they don't curl. Because there's nothing worse than sticking an icing or a printed icing or wafer picture on your cake and then having it curl away from the cake. I think our time is nearly done here. I think our time is nearly up. I think the internet is telling us that we can't carry on for much longer. I went online earlier and did a live in my student group just to check that everything still worked after going on holiday. Typical, absolutely no problems at all, no internet issues, nothing. Maybe that's the issue, maybe I used it all up talking to my students. Dawn's made a very good point. Yes, couture is hardly more expensive than supermarket. And did you see when I unwrapped my packet, I actually had it folded over and wrapped in cling film. So it does keep, oh, I forgot to put the hole, it does keep really, really well. You don't need to feel like you have to use it all at once or it's wasted. It does keep really well. There we go, I've just stuck the lollipop on the front as well. So obviously you can go all the way around with your dots and all the way around with your food items. Now, very quickly, before the internet gives up on us completely, I'm just going to show you what I like to do, just to put the name on the top of the cake. So let's think of a 4-letter name. Let's go for Toby, I think, because that's a nice, or Noah we could go for. Someone give me a 4-letter boy's name. Oh, there's so many, aren't there? Ryan, Noah, Finn. I can think of loads. Okay, the first one that comes up I'll use. Someone give me a 4-letter boy's name and I will use that. I have to wait a minute for them to come. Anyone got a 4-letter boy's name for me? If I don't get one, I'll go with Ryan. Any 4-letter boys' names? I think we're we're having proper internet issues, aren't we? We're frozen again. Oh, John, there we go. Thank you, Caroline. We've got one. I've got proper internet issues. Oh, hang on a minute. John wasn't first. Or did I get first? I said I'd go first. Reeve says Toby. There we go. I have to go with the first one. So there we go. I've stuck my 4. You obviously can do smaller ones if you have more than a 4-letter name. Right, so I'm going to use some of the Eleganza. I just want to show you something else that it works brilliantly for. I've got the lovely Katie Sue domed letter mould here, which is really, really nice for things like this. Oh, what name did I say? I can't remember. Was it Toby? Yeah, Toby. Oh, sorry, guys. All these names coming through. Right, so I put some cocoa butter. No, I don't. I put some corn flour. It's coming to the end, isn't it? I'm a bit delirious. Coming to the end. Right, so I put some corn flour in and patted it out. Take a little bit of my paste. And I push it into my letter. I want to push it in to my letter and just rub with my fingers. So I'm not taking a knife. Never, ever, ever take a knife anywhere near these moulds. Always just rub it with your finger. So it was within, see how well the Eleganza works in these. It comes out so easily. Rub with your finger so it's completely within. You can't see very well because I'm using white. So it's completely within the shape. And then just pop your letter out. There you go, look. It's a lovely domed letter. So I'll just stick some glue on there. Stick that on. All fingers and thumbs today. T. Let's find the O. Just go around and just, if you've got extra paste, just rub it with your finger rather than take your knife to it. I've seen so many people wreck their moulds by taking knives to them. I lent one of my favourites out to a friend once and it came back sadly with lots of knife cuts in it. So if the name is long, you put more circles. And you can obviously do smaller circles. You don't have to do such big circles. You can do smaller ones. I just knew that I only had that cutter and I knew that I'd fit 4. That's why I was asking for 4-letter names. There we go. So once they're in, so you just give them a rub and make sure they are in. Now, if you have problems, if you use Eleganza paste, you won't have problems. But if you have another paste and you have problems getting them out, you can actually pop these in the freezer just for a few minutes. And they pop out absolute dream after that. You won't have any problems, but the Eleganza just is brilliant for moulds. And another thing that you get with Saracino, someone was asking me the difference with Saracino. If you keep working Saracino, it gets really, really, really soft. And if you have hot hands, it gets really, really soft. You don't get that with the Eleganza. It's always workable. That's a big difference. There you go, there's the Y. There we are. So we have the name on top. Now if they have a number for their birthday, you can cut your number out of paste, stick a skewer up the middle, leave it to dry, and then you can always stick the number in behind. Oh, my internet is not working again. I'll wait for you to come back. And then all I've got to do is say goodbye. Oh, you're back. We are there. Right. So there we have our hungry caterpillar cake. Very hungry caterpillar cake. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me put that behind it so you can see. There you go. You can see all his bits and pieces. Oh, the bee's fallen off. There we go. I will take a picture of that as well and I'll stick that up for you to see. And I will post this onto my Facebook page as well. If anybody fancies joining my student group, there is a cheeky little cake stuff discount in there, which is always handy. And you'll also be able to see all sorts of tutorials that I've got coming up. I will be back in a week or so doing another one for cake stuff. I know the other guys will be up too, so you have plenty of tutorials to look forward to. Stay safe, guys, and have a lovely rest of Sunday. I will just have a quick flick through to see if there's any questions that I've missed. So if anybody has